So President William Ruto said that he's about to ban importation of mitumba shoes in 2 years. And Kenyans are celebrating. But the question I'm asking Kenyans is, are you ready to buy those shoes at expensive rates? When the government comes around telling you that they are going to ban importations of products just because you're producing those products locally, are you ready to forgo or to forget about those importations and at the same time pay expensively for the products being produced in the country? Because what the president is trying to tell you is that he's going to reduce competition for those goods. And when competition goes down, then the whole bargaining power remains with the seller. For example, if you are selling something and you're only 2 sellers in a market, you can be able to come together and dictate the price that you're going to sell to the buyers. You know, adding another supplier is to increase competition, and most probably when we have a perfect market, it is very difficult for the suppliers or the sellers to come together and agree on specific terms on how they are going to charge customers. But when we have a perfect competition, we have many dealers who are competing to sell a certain product. The only way they can compete is by selling either good quality or selling at low cost. And because they cannot be able to guarantee good quality, everybody good quality, and even if they have to guarantee that every seller has to give quality, then it means they can only compete with prices. And that is where common mwananchi or the end consumer can benefit by buying good quality at better cost. So when you say that you want to ban importation of products like mtumba shoes, are you Kenyans, do you have the capacity to buy new shoes that are going to be made from the locally manufacturers? Will you be able to buy new shoes that are made from the skin from your cows just because you have cows in Kenya? You know, those mitubas do not benefit the rich. They do not benefit politicians. They benefit the poor Kenyans who are not employed, but they can be able to get 20 shillings and buy used clothes and used shoes from other countries. That is what we call mtuba. So are you willing to compromise on that? Are you willing to forget importation, and at the same time, are you willing to buy expensive products? You know, I know most of you will come to the comment section and start telling me, oh, you supported this government, keep quiet, sijui nini, you know, but it is good to be candid and to be truthful to the government. When the government makes the wrong decisions, you need to rise up and talk to them. Because, for example, when you ban the importation of maize from Uganda and Tanzania, then you leave the very few Kenyan cartels in the maize industry and in the food industry to dictate on what price you are going to buy maize flour. Because you cannot tell me a kilo of unga in Uganda and in Tanzania is costing at whatever price, the punitive price we are buying in Kenya. The mistake that we have done is to block importation of maize from those countries, free importation of maize from Tanzania and Uganda. The simple thing that we need to do to lower the cost of unga is to allow Tanzanians and Ugandans, or allow the Kenyan manufacturers to import freely without necessarily being imposed taxes, unnecessary taxes, just to make those products expensive. You know, allow free market between the East African countries, and you will have sorted the problem of maize and the problem of maize flour. But now you're telling us that you want to ban the importation of mtumba shoes. Then what about the farmer, or then what about the common citizen who cannot be able to buy a new shoe? You are good, you have a salary, you are an MP, you are an MCA, you are going to pass that law. But what about that common mwananchi, that boda guy, that beba guy, yeah? That mama mboga who cannot be able to buy a new shoe at 2,000 Kenyan shilling. He or she can only afford 200 shillings to buy a mtumba shoe. You know, Wakenya tufikirieni, we don't only agree with the president just because we think he's not drunk, and so we should not think that he always make right decisions. We should be able to speak when the president goes wrong.